These Afghan private security contractors were protecting a commercial convoy when they were attacked by the Taliban. An RPG destroyed their lead vehicle and killed the driver. This is how they responded. With tactics that would make Rambo blush. While they're shooting in the direction of the ambush, their aim, if you can call it that, is so high and indiscriminate that the rounds are just as likely to hit civilians as their enemy. In some cases, they shoot without considering who's in their line of fire. Here, this machine gun burst narrowly misses a truck filled with their own men. These Wild West-style firefights not only jeopardize civilian lives, but potentially the very counterinsurgency strategy Coalition Commander General David Petraeus is hoping will turn around the war. When civilians get caught in the crossfire between private contractors and insurgents, international troops usually get blamed, regardless of who was doing the shooting. And these accidental civilian deaths lead to ominous consequences, according to a report just released by the New America Foundation. It finds that for every civilian death attributed to coalition forces, insurgents will retaliate with as many as 6 attacks in the same amount of weeks. The simple equation? More civilian deaths equal more Taliban sympathizers and more Taliban violence.
The instability or the loss of innocent life that could be attributed to any force, in this case private security companies, is going to be destabilizing. And clearly that's something that we've got to work to take away those conditions.
But ironically, the U.S. military needs these undisciplined private security companies more than ever to protect the supply convoys bringing in water, fuel, and even concrete blast barriers needed to equip the recent surge of U.S. troops. And while companies like this one, called Compass, have sprung up to help fill the gaping security hole, these firms have become a favorite target of insurgents, who hit them almost daily, even more so than U.S. or Afghan forces.
The insurgents in this area seem to, based on their engagements, have shown a preference for engaging those convoys first.
There are over 50 registered private security companies here, with as many as 25,000 hired guns, mostly native Afghans. And there are many more operating that are not registered. The laundry list of allegations against both go well beyond just the irresponsible use of firepower. They've been accused of corruption, smuggling, drug use, and murder. There's even allegations of paying bribes to the Taliban to let them pass without attacks, creating a stinging irony that some of the millions of dollars being spent to haul military supplies for the fight against the Taliban may actually be helping to fund the Taliban. Watan Risk Management, which is headed by a cousin of Afghanistan's President Hamid Karzai, has publicly denied making these kind of payments to insurgents. Most of the other larger firms have not responded to the allegations, prompting ongoing government investigations in both Kabul and Washington. General Nick Carter is head of the International Security Assistance Forces Regional Command South.
What we have got to work hard to do with our Afghan partners is a number of things. The first thing is that we understand entirely that private security companies have got to be properly registered and properly regulated. And we understand that there is proper legislation in place that's going to come down from the Ministry of Interior. And once we're armed with that legislation, we'll then work with our Afghan partners, and it's an Afghan solution that has to come out of this thing.
But Afghan government solutions may be questionable, considering that many of these security firms, like Watan Risk, have direct family connections to the government. Private contractors' destabilizing effect on the overall counterinsurgency campaign is felt most acutely, however, when they contribute to deadly results like this. Dr. Anar Gul was with her husband and young daughter Samaya driving west on Highway 1, one of the country's main paved roads, when they got stuck behind a commercial convoy. It came under attack near the Hawijah Madad base.
Female. What's she got?
No idea.
She doesn't look like she's breathing. She's even alive.
This is looks like her husband.
When her husband pulled into an open lane to pass the convoy, a projectile smashed through their windshield and pierced her neck. She died of blood loss in less than 15 minutes. It's uncertain who or what kind of weapon or object killed Gul, but what is clear is that when their family car came between the two hostile forces that had already been trading fire, she lost her life. While there's no official tracking of the civilian deaths or injuries due to shootouts between private security contractors and the Taliban, Some feel that the contractors themselves are being exploited. They say these are mostly jobless men, given promises of high wages, given a gun and little to no training, and then sent out as cannon fodder to be killed by the Taliban.
Do it. Morphine for a guy taking stuff out from the unit. That's fine.
Medics at another forward base fight to save the lives of 2 contractors critically wounded by a roadside bomb. Former battalion surgeon Captain Matt Rogers says that at least half of his 300-plus trauma cases were either civilian security contractors or victims of their crossfire. But while the risk of both civilian and contractor casualties in these unbridled shootouts are high, U.S. commanders haven't decided exactly what to do about it yet. But for coalition military commanders here, these private contractor problems raise issues that may be indicative of the problems with the Afghan mission at large. It's the inherent challenge of a fast-flowing money pipeline that invites corruption, creates both legal and illicit business opportunities, and reinforces that free-fire warlord mentality that international partners here hope a unified Afghan national government might one day displace. Reporting from Zari District in Kandahar Province, Afghanistan, this is Kevin Seitz for Global Post.